All right, so today we are going to learn and be able to translate inequalities from verbal statements to algebraic ones and vice versa. You can show your proficiency by scoring 70% or better on my exit ticket. So just something, quick reminder, these are kind of like backwards statements. This is something that most students struggle with when translating inequalities or any statement really. So we have more than and less than. So when these are used, you'll see something like 5 more than or 5 less than. And when they are written out, you kind of write them backwards. So you have 5 more than, say, a number, right? Or we'll have 5 less than, say, a number. So the proof here is, and I will draw a number line, is, and actually let me color coordinate this for you. So 5 less than a number. 0, I'll do 5, 10, that should be enough, -5, and -10. So when I'm doing this, if I have 5 more than, say, -5, so 5 more than -5, I'll start at -5 and I have to add 5 to it, right? So I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll get to 0. So if you were to write that out, let me get rid of this, I'll have 5 more than -5, and when that will equal 0. All right, also with less than, 5 less than, if I have 5 less than 10, I'll start at 10, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I will be at 5. That's where I'll stop. So if I rewrite this, it'll be 5 less than 10, which you can see equals 5. So this is just kind of a visual representation to show you guys that it is in fact correct. Since a lot of you struggle remembering, this is kind of like a phrase that should alert you. When you see more than, you should be like, it's a backwards phrase. All right, so my advice here is to read the statement fully first and then start picking it apart and making it work for you. So the difference of 3 times a number and 5 is less than or equal to 20. So the first thing that I notice is where it says difference. Difference is going to be subtraction. All right. So if 3, or so then what I read is 3 times a number. So 3 times a number. We know that 3 times a number, we don't know what the number is. We can also just write that as 3n. And I just realized that in the answers, they're using x. So I will use x as well. So 3 times a number. And then we have our and 5. So here is where I'm going to put my subtraction from difference. Then we'll see is less than. Now, I know we just went over more than and less than, but you can see that these are just more than, less than. In these problems, when you see a is less than, that's going to scream out to you that it's going to be some form of an inequality. And you can remember we're talking about things like these. Okay? So, and this is actually the 3rd time I've done this. When you read the entire statement, it says is less than or equal to. All right, so I know that I'm going to have is less than. Remember, you can remember less than symbol. It's kind of like an L that got kicked over, right? So it still kind of looks like a slanted L. Is less than or equal to, and then just 20. All right, we come down here and we match that up. No. Yes, C is going to be our answer. All right, moving on, we have 5 more than the product of 6 and a number is less than the sum of 4 and 2 times the same number. All right, so I see that I have a more than, so 5 more than. All right, so if I was going to start writing it out as it feels like from what I know, I'm going to say 5 more than. The product is multiplication. So product of 6 and a number, so 6 and some number I don't know. So 6n is less than, and it's just is less than. So I have my less than symbol. So here I kind of take a break, and I'm just going to kind of come look at my answers. Big pro tip, and we'll do this in the next one, I think, is that I'm just going to look at this is less than, and I can tell you that B and D are not the answer. And then based on what I have on the left side, I can also tell you that A is not going to be the answer. So it's looking like C, but let's finish it since we're learning this and just make sure. Is less than the sum, so that's going to be plus, the sum of 4 and 2 times, so that's 2 times some number, which can just be written as 2n. And we see that it matches up with C. All right, actually, I'll do it in the next one. All right, so we have translate the following inequality into a written expression. So I think these are the best ones to do because one, it gives us a lot of extra practice because we have to go through all 4 of these choices and writing them out from verbal or written to algebraic. So, and also as you're writing it out, once you find a discrepancy, once you find something that doesn't match what you're looking for, you can just trash it and you know it's not going to be the answer. So I have 10 more than, all right, and this is a perfect example, 10 more than. Right away, I have a negative and I have a positive here, or a plus. I have a subtraction and I have a plus right here. So I can scrap this. I already know it's not going to be A, but because we're learning, I'm going to continue. The quotient of a number, 10 more than, so 10 more than the quotient. So I know I'm going to have a fraction here of a number and 3. So when you read a quotient, you read left to right, so a number and 3, and that'll correlate going down, up, down, right? Down, or top to bottom. So the quotient of a number and 3, of a number and 3, all right, is greater than, all right? And we can put our is greater than symbol there. And just because these are so short, is greater, whoops, is greater than 4. And you can see that we have a plus here and a minus here, so A is going to be wrong. So now we have 10 less than, so 10 less than. So that's looking pretty good. Remember, that's our backward statement. The product of a number. So product is going to be multiplication of a number and 3. So that's going to give me 3x. So right away, I can tell you that B is not going to be my answer. But just because we're practicing, let's continue. Is greater than, my greater than symbol, and 4. All right. So 1/3 of a number decreased by 10 is less than 4. 1/3 of a number, 1/3 of a number. So I have 1/3 of some number I don't know. So you could write it like this, and we would know that, let's just do a quick review. If I have 3, we all know that 3 over 1 equals 3, right? Because 3 divided by 1 is itself. Same works if I have 10 divided by 1, it's just 10, so 10 over 1. Well, the same thing works here with x over 1, because x divided by 1 is just going to be x. And we know that when we multiply fractions, we multiply across. 1 times x is just going to be x, and 3 times 1 is just going to be 3. So here we have 1/3 of a number, 1/3 of a number. All right, and that's going to be decreased by 10, so that looks pretty good so far. Is less than 4. All right, so we got this less than symbol. We need it to be greater than, so C is not the answer. So I can assume D is the answer, but because I'm a good math student, I'm going to go ahead and actually work this one out. So 1/3 of a number, we just talked about that. Decrease, which is subtract by 10, is greater than 4. All right, and we can see that that matches. All right, so, all right, 7 times the sum of a number and 2 is less than 8 times the same number decreased by 15. So in another video, I refer to this as like a red flag statement, right? So we have 7 times the sum of, right? 7 times the sum of. So when I see that times the sum of, that screams to me parentheses. Then I look inside of my red flag statement and I see the word sum. Sum is inside of my red flag statement. So I'm going to put my addition sign for sum inside of my parentheses. My number 7 is on to the left of my red flag statement. So I'll put it to the left of my parentheses. All right. And then from here, you read past your red flag statement to fill in a number and 2. So a number, X and 2. All right. And then we have is less than. So I'm going to pause here. And I'm glad I didn't try my trick earlier or in this one because it wouldn't help. But I have 7 parentheses, X plus 2 parentheses less than. So I can cross off A, I can cross off D. So right now I have a 50-50 chance. All right, is less than 8 times the same number. So 8 times the same number decreased, which is going to be subtraction, and 15. It's important to remember that when you see decrease, that is not one of those backward statements. You're not going to flip-flop it. All right, you're just going to write it straightforward, left to right as is. And you can see that your answer is going to be B. All right. Yeah, I'll do these two because I think they're helpful. So Disney on Ice tickets cost $44 for an adult and $24 for a child. The family wants to spend no more than $140. So I'm going to use $44. I'm going to kind of follow what the answers look like and use A for my variable for an adult. And then I have $24 for a child, so I'll use C for my variable for children or for a child. Now I know that these kids are not going to Disney on Ice by themselves. So they're definitely going to be added together. Plus, look at your 4 answer choices. Like it's kind of a given. All right. Now the family wants to spend no more than $140. So my questions to you are, can they spend $130 or $130? Of course they can. Yes. Can they spend $150? No, because they do not want to spend any more than $140. But the big question is, can they spend all of their money? Can they spend $140? Of course they can. That's why it says no more than $140. So here we will have a less than or equal to, because they can spend up to $140. So whatever their total is for tickets can be $140 or less. All right, then we just match this bad boy up. That's just less than, that's greater than. That's greater than and equals to, so it's going to be C. All right, adventure park tickets cost $55 for an adult and $45 for a child. The family has a max of $250 to spend. So they have $55 for an adult, $45 for a child, and we know they're going together because these kids are not going to Adventure Park by themselves. The family has a max of $250. So same questions as before. Can this family spend $240? Of course they can, yes. Can they spend $260? No, they can. They have a max of $250. They cannot go over $250. But can they spend all of their money? And the answer is yes. They have a max. They can spend all $250. And then we just match it up. Let's see, no, this doesn't have an equal to. This is greater than, so our answer is A. All right, and last but not least, tickets to the Children's Museum cost $13 for an adult and $11 for a child. Again, we know that these guys are going together because ain't nobody letting kids into the Children's Museum all on themselves. By the way, if you've never been to the Children's Museum, I think it's in Portsmouth. I could be wrong. I did a catering event there once, but it's pretty cool. They have like, I don't know if you guys ever played with the like thing that had like all the pins in it, and you could put your hand on it, and then your hand would like come out like made out of metal pins. They have one that's like full body. Probably shouldn't do it now with everything going on in the world. But when this is all over, you should check it out. All right, if the Smith family has 2 adults, so now I know my A is going to equal 2, so I can pop my 2 right in here, and wants to spend no more than $80. No more than. How many children's tickets can they buy? All right, so here we will look at this no more than. And we've had this wording before, so we know that it's going to be less than or equal to. So I just come down here and match this up. This is not, doesn't have an equal to, that's greater than. So our answer is A. All right, so what we will be learning, I believe starting next week, Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. We'll learn how to solve these. So we need to solve for C. We need to see how many kids' tickets they can get, or children's tickets. So it's very similar to how we would solve an equation. Whoops, let me write that. 13 times 2 plus 11C 80. So it's very similar to how we would solve equations, right? So we follow out order operations right here and just get 26 plus 11C, and that's less than or equal to 80. We want to get this 11C by itself, so we subtract 26 from both sides. We kind of treat this inequality as the equal sign, right? So I have 11C less than or equal to, I think that's 54. Divide that by 11, and you'll get C equals 4.909 repeating. All right, so something important to know here is that we know we can at least get 4 tickets. So I'm going to take 3 off the table. And I'm going to take 6 off the table too, because 6 way more than 4. But some people will be like, oh, but it's like, oh, Mr. Johnson is so close to 5. Like, we just rounded up to 5. Like, no, because remember in the beginning of the question, they said they could spend no more than $80. So if you rounded that up by a tenth, or technically a 900ths, but if you were to round that up to 5, you would be spending more than $80. Like, this is cutthroat. This is as much money as they have. So you can't round up. You're always going to round down when you see this. Well, I don't want to say always, but in this particular problem, you round down. So our answer would be F equals 4. All right, so I know doing the word problems isn't everybody's favorite, but it's probably the most applicable version or variety of math out there. Plus, that's how math runs the world. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you had a great day. Enjoy your evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Mr. Johnston out.